calling games on the Mets radio network. He is one of the all-time great radio baseball play-by-play voices. The Mets finally got new owner Steve Cohen his first victory, beat the Phillies 8-4 in Philadelphia, and this was needed, especially after the pause to start the season, where obviously Mets couldn't play with Washington and the COVID situation. So they got the party started on Monday. DeGrom was brilliant, and then the bullpen blew it, and you feel that whole same old, same old. So they needed that mentally, needed that in the standings, on the scoreboard. Mets fans needed that psychologically, and I think that Pete Alonso hitting that home run is a big deal. I thought, there were a couple of guys, Bellinger, Baez, Yelich, Alonso, guys who expected big seasons last year. It didn't materialize, shortened season. My worry level is 0. And Pete Alonso mashing that baseball was a huge deal. So I thought that was big for the Mets. I thought the two most majestic things that happened dealing with the National League teams yesterday, how about Juan Soto? How about Clayton Kershaw? Jason Stark from The Athletic, who is a Hall of Fame baseball writer, he does a great job at The Athletic. You've seen him on ESPN for forever before he left and went to MLB Network and obviously to The Athletic. He's not subject to hyperbole. And I give you that to give you this. He wrote a great piece in The Athletic this offseason on comparing Juan Soto and Ted Williams. And by the way, I read it twice, and by the way, he's right. And Juan Soto is a ridiculous, special, freakish, amazing, unique unicorn of a talent. So anytime Juan Soto comes through in a game, we're going to celebrate. How about that? Bottom of the ninth, walk-off single, and the Washington Nationals beat the Braves in a game where obviously Washington's not playing with a full cast of characters with players, 10 of them on the COVID list. I'll tell you the other great part of that game, Max Scherzer. Yeah, I love Scherzer, and I love aces when, he gave up 3 solo homers, and it didn't even matter in terms of understanding how to pitch to the scoreboard, how to attack a game, go 6 innings, make sure that, the bullpen is intact, give his team be in position to win, doesn't care about his stats, doesn't care about ERA. Oh, man, what an old-school bulldog mentality. Don't let that fly under the radar. I love that from Max Scherzer yesterday. And my goodness, how about Dodgers' 5th starter Clayton Kershaw bouncing back from the opening day loss? 7 majestic innings. And I joke when I say 5th starter. Obviously, I think Kershaw is the greatest pitcher of all time. But think about what he did in the first turn versus the other 4 pitchers, and with May and Urias and Bueller and obviously what happened with Trevor Bauer, and then it's Kershaw. I mean, he was the worst one in the first turn, and now on the second turn he starts it out with just a gem against the Oakland A's. I'm going to keep saying it. I told you, my second best over-under for this baseball season, Dodgers over 102.5. 5-1. A's, on the other hand, are 0-6. I told you they were going to take a step back, and I am obsessed watching the Dodgers. And Bellinger didn't play. He got spiked the other day. Kershaw, my generation, Sandy Koufax, they win another ring. He keeps pitching like this. I'm telling you, I'm not even going to have to fight people when I say Clayton Kershaw is the greatest pitcher in the history of Major League Baseball. Rich in Florida are our good friends. Next on Sports.
Adam, how are you? How have you been?
Hey, Rich, it's been way too long. Good to hear your voice. What's cooking?
Oh, nothing. I just wanted to call, wish you guys well. Haven't talked to you in a while, and also drop a little bit of a hammer on Joe Douglas.
Give it to me.
See, I'm not really too sure, and I'm going to go into wait and see mode that he is the GM for the Jets. Let me explain why. 2019, if you remember correctly, he visited the house of Sam Darnold, and his parents said he was going to get Sam Darnold protection. Never did. And I will also say that if he knew that Darnold wasn't going to be his quarterback, maybe back then he really should have pulled the trigger, got him out after, what was done. Now, I get that, it was handed to him, But if you look at the history of the Jets, they do not. They've had 5 quarterbacks since Pennington have a history of grooming quarterbacks at all. He is on the clock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Yeah, he'll get Zach Wilson, but he's still going to be a young quarterback going to be thrown out there to the wolves without any studying that used to be done back in the old days from there. And those picks that he has, all those extra ones that he lines up, man, he's got to do something, because all he just did was do another reset and got him 3 more years saying, oh, wait, we have to develop this team by free agency now. Well, let's see what you got.
You know, Rich, you're the second Jets fan that has said that. If you think this is about Joe Douglas buying himself time, I think you're completely mistaken. And I think that's almost character assassination. Joe Douglas is making a football decision. Now, you can disagree with it for a variety of reasons, and there's a portion of it that I vehemently disagree with it. You know, I think Sam Darnold's going to be great, and I think he could have been great under LaFleur and Saleh, but this is not him throwing himself a lifeline. He genuinely believes this, that Zach Wilson, and also, and I think this is important to remember here, and I know you know this, you're a Jets fan, he didn't draft Sam Darnold.
I know he did.
He didn't draft Sam Darnold. And I think that's important here for context, where he is now putting his stamp on the whole way they handled McCagnon, Gase, hiring Douglas was only the Jets. It was so backwards on every possible way. It was beyond backwards. So I think this is Joe Douglas putting his stamp on the team. Look, I think the easy thing to do, the simple thing to do, would be to keep Sam Darnold. He's not trying to save his bacon here. He believes, you know, he's an old school scout. You know, from his eyeball tests, he wants his franchise quarterback. He sees it in Zach Wilson. He sees his franchise head coach in Robert Saleh. So this is not a lifeline preservation. If there was a lifeline preservation, you know, he would have kept Sam Darnold and made sure that the cupboard was stocked and they can win some games to satisfy a relatively clueless owner. Forget relatively, a clueless owner in Woody Johnson. That's what he would have done if he was in job preservation mode. So, if anything, I think this is a hell of a lot more risky on the part of Joe Douglas. So, I definitely disagree with you on that. Ryan in Florida, our good friend. Next on Sports.
My man, Adam Schein.
Oh, Ryan, it's so good to hear your voice. Wait, what was it yesterday? I thought you had a terrible tweet. Was that yesterday?
No, that was 2 days ago with my day and live in infamy tweet.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to... Yeah, I think I came back with a better one yesterday, but I think it just came out of context.
It's terrible. Yeah, the UCLA loss. I mean, listen, first of all, the tweet was horrendous in general, but, you know, Ryan, we hold you to a higher standard. I don't have that standard for everyone, but for you, I mean, when we're measuring greatness in the Schein box, I mean, you know, you're an all-timer. You're a classic. You know, you're a guy who's always in the All-Star game. You know, we expect better, Ryan. Come on, you can't just throw anything on the old social media, Ryan. You're better than that.
Yeah, I after it got trashed. We all can't be Sandra in Virginia and have flawless tweets. Every now and then we're allowed one. We're allowed one bad tweet. I got it out the way. I put one in today. I don't know how it'll measure up, but hopefully it'll be better than that. My Godzilla tweet yesterday, a little bit better, but you know.
Yeah, it was better. It was better. I mean, you were probably rocked from Monday. So, yes, we now got to climb back up to that all-star status. You're right. You're 100% right. Even the greats have a bad day. You're right. Granted, not as bad as that,
Absolutely.
But the greats have a bad day.
Yeah, you get knocked down a couple pegs. You just got to get back up on the horse and try again. So that's what I did.
Very well said. Very well said.
I wish I could say the same for my Indians. Now, going forward, I know we're only 3 games into the season. You know, I think it's just going to be a bad year altogether. I feel bad for our pitchers. I mean, Bieber goes out, you know, first game, throws, double-digit strikeouts. We have no offense to back him up. Granted, we came back, but it was too little too late. Zach Plesac, same thing. I mean, Alvis, we have no offense. Now, I know we have to see what we have talent-wise with our young players. We have to give them a chance to develop, but I just feel bad. I have a feeling that if the Indians don't produce some offense to go behind Bieber, I don't know if he'll play up to the expectations, or he'll probably want out in Cleveland, or maybe he'll go to your Yankees. What do you think?
Could I make you feel better?
Sure.
Because I care about you, and your Indians are going nowhere, and your tweet was historically bad. Today, in 1989, Major League was released in theaters. And that is an all-time classic, laugh-out-loud, quotable movie. It's got to be, for you, an all-time great, correct, as an Indians fan?
Oh, of course. I can quote that movie from beginning to end. It's like Draft Day.
It's to me, and Draft Day, by the way, was not a bad movie. Not a bad movie at all. Draft Day, I know people were talking about the reality of it. Draft Day was a fine movie. I like Draft Day. But Major League, to me, that's on the Mount Rushmore of sports movies. And if you're a Cleveland fan, there's an extra feeling of appreciation. In fact, I've referenced the fantasy league I'm in, and we did the auction league, and I'm obsessed. Team name, Lou Brown's Tire World. I mean, here we go. I mean, you can quote from that movie all day. See, I just left you laughing, Ryan, because what am I going to do? Remind you of how bad your tweet was on Monday? And that's going to be stuck and attached to your ribs and your legacy forever? No, I'm not going to let you feel bad about yourself. I'm not going to do that. What am I going to do? You're talking about your best players go to the Yankees. Your Indians are a mess. I care about you, Ryan. So what I want you to do tonight is save yourself from watching the current Indians and celebrate by watching Major League. Can we do that?
We can, and I'll even quote, since I'm sure this is going to be the end of the call, is I got a call about some white walls on the other line. I'll talk to you later.
Lou Brown gets that call to manage the Indians, and that was his response. This guy's dead. Well, cross him off then. Oh, man, I am obsessed with Major League. We'll get into a huge night coming up in the NBA, including the return of one of the best players in the sport, and more of your outstanding telephone calls right after this.